Hi, my name is Liba, and for my ISU novel, I chose to do 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. Now, this book is one of my favorite reads. I personally am not a person who reads a lot of books, but from the books that I have read in my life so far, this has been my all-time favorite. And this book is a historical / imperative fiction, so it does have some history in here, but it's not any kind of history that's going to be hard for you to understand, because I feel like Khalid Hosseini does a really good job in making it really simple for people to understand. Also, it's an imperative fiction because this is a very, very important book, and I think it has a very important message, and it has a beautiful story to tell. This book, honestly, it deserves to be read. The tone that Khalid Hosseini uses in this book is really impassioned. Every page, every chapter, every part of this book is just filled with emotion. Speaking of emotions, when you read this book, make sure that you have like 10 billion of these around. Cried so much. Like, these were just flying everywhere. Like, I don't even have words to explain this book. I don't want to spoil anything, and I want you guys all to go and read this book. It's gonna go into the literary devices and the analysis that I found. So one of the biggest themes in this book is the feminist theory. A lot of stuff that happens in this book is through the feminist perspective. There's a lot of gender inequalities that happens all throughout the book. It starts from the beginning of the book with Maryam and how her mom tells her, oh, women have no business getting educated. She doesn't need to get educated, you know? She just needs to learn to cook and clean. And then gender inequalities is also present when Maryam gets married to Rashid. Rashid tells Maryam that it embarrasses him when men don't have control over their wives, and what he means by that is that when women are walking around with makeup, when they have their hair out, he makes Maryam wear a burqa that you wear from head to toe when the only thing you can see is your eyes. And what happens later on is that while Maryam is cleaning in her house, it's across his drawer, and when she opens it, she finds like magazines with pictures of naked women. She feels really disgusted at the fact that he would insist her to cover up and stuff when he was totally fine with looking at other men's wives and daughters' private areas. And that's, I think, is a really big example of the feminist theory. Another example of feminism shown is through Layla, the second character, and her father, Hakim. He told her from a young age that the only thing that mattered to him after her safety was her to be educated. Another great thing about this book is just the way that it's written, and it has a lot of imagery and the way that things are depicted. A big part of this book is the dichotomy of war and the concept of peace versus war. And there's a lot of points in this book when the characters are introduced. So when Maryam was introduced, there was a lot of happier moments that were shared, and a lot of good things about Afghanistan. A lot of freedom that women did have are expressed through the beginning and the introduction of the book. But as soon as the Taliban come into the play, as soon as the US gets involved, as soon as all of this war that's happening, people are dying, and all of that starts to rise, you can really see the contrast between the ideal and the deplorable. I think that was really interesting. The way that Khalid Hosseini was able to do that was really unique. So the book is separated into 4 parts. The first part is about Maryam's life, and then the second part is about Layla's life. The third part is about Maryam and Layla's life, and the fourth part is just the ending. And I'm not gonna say anything about that because I don't want to spoil. Another significant element was the diction. I really enjoyed how there would be Farsi / Persian word, and it's pretty similar to the language that I do speak. So go and get one. Read it, please. There was other themes in here like motherhood and fatherhood. There was like different examples. There was examples in Mariam's life and then we saw motherhood and fatherhood again in Layla's life with her parents and her mom and her dad. And the biggest part about this book is women in Afghanistan. When the Taliban rose to power, there was a lot of inequalities. Women weren't allowed to leave their home without having either their husband, their brother, or their father with them. They were seen outside of their home. They were beaten. They were like throwing rocks at them. They were beaten. A personal connection that I could make to this book is that my background, where I'm actually from, Balochistan in Pakistan, where I was born and raised, is right next to Afghanistan. So even though I left that place when I was 5, I still know that since they're so close together, there is probably so much of the stuff that happened in Afghanistan happening where I was born and raised and where my parents were born and raised too. So it was just something that I could personally connect to.